So as an online business owner, you're putting your creativity and your ideas out there for judgment. Now, the fear of judgment is usually the thing that holds most people back. It's usually the thing that stops people taking action, or once they've already built a little bit of momentum, this is the thing that causes them to stop and give up. So this is actually really important. This is an integral part of thriving long-term online, dealing with negative people who are going to come up. And these are a few frameworks that have helped me. I'm going to give some examples of how I've dealt with this, and just some frameworks that I've used that have kind of got me to a place now where I genuinely don't give a fuck. And it's a really nice place to be in. And I don't say that lightly. I genuinely mean that. So you're putting yourself out there for judgment, your ideas, creativity, life experiences, and this can be scary. Now, one of my favorite quotes to think about is, when you squeeze an orange, orange juice comes out. Okay, I think this is a great quote. Now, what does that mean? That means if there's anger being directed at you, that's not coming from you. That's coming from the person who is producing that anger. That's coming from the orange. If you squeeze that orange, orange juice comes out. If you squeeze an angry person, anger comes out. Okay, so a post, something you might say, anything you might put online might trigger the anger inside an angry person. You didn't do that. That was already within them. Okay, now just as that goes for other people, that also goes for you. If you're feeling distrust towards someone, let's say, or you're feeling annoyed towards someone, that's not them, that's you. You are feeling that. That is inside of you. We must take responsibility for that, okay? But this is a nice way, and it's true, this is a nice way to think about it when someone comments something, or someone you thought was your friend maybe messages you something. Not that that ever happens, but if it did, you'd be able to know that that's from them. Okay, and you don't need to worry about it because that isn't coming from you. Okay, the only time that will ever trigger you is if it's got more than an ounce of truth to it, let's say. Okay, it will only ever trigger you if there's actually some truth to it, because then you know that actually they're right. Okay, but we're not talking about that here. We're talking about flat out negative people. Okay, when the negativity is coming from them, remember that that is from inside of them. It's nothing to do with you. Keep doing your thing. They were going to get triggered by something anyway. That anger, that negativity, whatever it is, that was already inside of them. So try to give away that which you want. Assume that people mean well. So this is a little bit of a superpower. Be naive. Be naive. Just assume that people mean well. This is actually a really good thing to do in social interactions as well. This is there's a great channel called Charisma on Command, and I think this is where I first heard that concept. Assume that people mean well. Even if someone is like, you just know that they're being mean to you, they're deliberately saying something to try and like bring you down in front of people, laugh along with them. Assume that they were joking, because it couldn't be possible but that they were such an arsehole that they were going to say something unkind in front of other people directed at you. Just assume they mean well, and it actually puts that back on them. Because of how you react, people will respond based on your own reaction. So if someone throws something at you and you're like, oh, all defensive and tense, and maybe try and throw something back, an insult back, people will be like, oh, start to feel uncomfortable. They'll feel your insecurity, and then they'll feel that as well. And then it's not a good look for you. So assume that they mean well. If someone sends an insult your way, just laugh and enjoy it. Assume they're joking. Assume they're joking. And the other people around you will laugh with you as well. Okay, we're all having a joke. Done. Gone. That's it. Moment's over. Okay, and that other person will be like, hey, what? No, I was being a dickhead. And then if they say it again in a like a mean way, you can literally ask them, oh, sorry, what do you mean? And now they've had to say it 3 times, and they've had to spell out that they're being a dickhead. Oh, I was trying to bring you down because I think your ears are wonky. It's a bit of a complex I used to have. My ears are slightly different shapes. Whatever, I don't worry about it anymore. But anyway, like that's as an example. So now they've fired 2 insults at you. One you've laughed off, one you've asked for clarity, and they've had to spell it out. This is a great social tool if you're ever around an arsehole like that. Just literally ask them to spell it out, and then you can be like, oh, okay. And then like carry on with the conversation. Be completely indifferent and unbothered, and they just look like an arsehole because they've been a dick twice and they've had to spell out that they're being a dick. And then you can just move on with your life. So that's a nice little social maneuver that you can use. But yeah, online as well. If there are any comments, if you're running ads, whatever, if your thing's gone viral, people forget that there's a person behind the bit of content that's gone out, and they forget that you can see it. They just think it's like a bit of content that exists on the internet, and it's like a wall that you can graffiti all over. And then they forget that like there's actually a person who made it. But try it. Just assume that they mean well with their comment and just laugh. Not in a bitter way, like a butthurt way, but just laugh along with them. Like, oh yeah, no, that is kind of true. And it completely disarms everything they were saying. So I hope that helps. And I like to think about the orange example. Okay, also another one is manage expectations. So when you start out online and you're putting yourself out there and you're doing something new, the people who you knew, that your social circle, they will likely challenge you. And I've definitely faced this, people making light of what you're doing, words like throwing things like, oh, you think you're an influencer, all this sort of stuff. That will happen. And that's happened plenty of times for people who you think are, good friends. And it's because you're challenging the expectations of that social group. And it's tall poppy syndrome. Okay, you need to be cut back down. It's the crabs in the bucket thing. If the crab tries to escape a bucket, the others will pull it back in because they are like, hey, fuck you. You ain't going anywhere if we're not. So this does happen, so be conscious of it. And this is one of the biggest things that can hold people back. Birds of a feather flock together, remember. And sometimes if you want to fly somewhere else, then the birds you're flocking with will try and keep you with them. Anyway, that's not the best analogy. If you read the book Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza, he uses that analogy. I can't remember it exactly right now, it's quite late here. But yeah, so that will happen. Your friendship group, they will make light of the things that you are doing. But other people who see that in you, they will support you. And it's that whole thing of, is it Dr. Seuss? It's like those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. People who see that you're like trying to film things and you're trying to put stuff out there, they'll support you. Hey, can I help you, man? Like the amount of people I've met in gyms or just traveling around here, they're like, oh, you're making a bit of content. Oh, can I help with anything? And I'll do the same. If I see anyone filming, I'm like, hey, would you like me to do that for you? Because I know what they're working towards. We're sharing a similar goal here. We're sharing a similar vision. So, and those are some of the best contacts you make, and they're really grateful for it, and you'd be really grateful for it as well. So yeah, you go ahead and do that, and those people will spot you, and you'll be able to spot them because you both know what mission you're on. So forget the others who are kind of making fun of you. And the thing is, once you start doing well, they always come back. Oh yeah, congrats, man, you're doing this and da-da. And like I've had very, very close people who are close to me. When I first started out what I was doing, I basically was doing very well in the music industry, and I knew I needed to do a U-turn. I had a bit of a personal brand in the music industry as well, was relatively well known, and I just turned my back on it, to be honest. And it was a very confusing decision not for me, but for other people, because it seemed like I had great momentum, but my heart just wasn't in it. And people very close to me, when I started doing what I was doing on my new account and building a brand on that account, I had some really tough comments to deal with from people who were very close to me about how stupid and ridiculous it was. And I had to stay firm in my belief in what I was doing and my reasons for doing it. And it turns out that it was absolutely the right and best choice, and things have gone better than I could have ever expected. And I've learned so much and met so many amazing people through doing it. So don't listen to them, listen to yourself. And also, I'm starting this YouTube channel now, really pushing that and seeing the value in YouTube. Now, I wanted to start a YouTube channel years ago. I wanted to do it on like masculinity stuff. I think I just read like 3% Man by Corey Wayne, and I'd read Way of the Superior Man, and there was a couple of others I'd read as well. And I was very good at getting girls, all that sort of stuff. I wanted to kind of start talking about some of those things and putting that out there. And I had someone who I did trust. They just said, well, YouTube is saturated, it's already been done, which is the biggest load of bollocks everywhere. And the worst bit of advice you can give someone, it's not saturated. You are not saturated because you are a niche of one, as Dan Coe would say. You are the niche. So it's not saturated, it's a blue ocean, okay? You're swimming in a blue ocean. So, but I listened to it, I was like, oh yeah, there are other people doing similar things, and I didn't realize my unique value. I didn't realize that, and I wish I'd started. I wish I'd started years and years ago. Who knows? So don't listen to people, listen to yourself, trust yourself. Now, when you have no expectations of others, you will never be disappointed. I love that. When you have no expectations of others, you will never be disappointed. There you go. That's when there's disappointment and there's controlling behaviors arise in relationships and families when there are certain expectations. Okay. Now, does that mean that if someone's completely walking over you, you should allow it? No. That means you distance yourself from that relationship, and once they start respecting your boundaries again and respecting you, then you can re-enter that relationship. It's not saying you just are a doormat that you are walked over or walked all over. It's just saying that you don't have any expectations. Okay, they're going to behave like that. Bye-bye, I'm going to go over here. Okay, so it's a really, really powerful thing to do. Have no expectations of others, accept others unconditionally for who and where they are. The appreciation that you are after, and this is why a lot of relationships fall apart, the appreciation that you are after is never going to come from someone else. It's never going to come from them. Okay, it's only ever going to come from within. Love yourself, man. It's true. You have to learn to love yourself. You really do. So the appreciation, love, respect that you are after is never, ever going to come from anyone else. That will only ever come from you. Now, if you respect yourself and you care about yourself and you appreciate yourself, if you get negative comments or you get things that come in, whose opinion? No one can rock you because you're so secure in who you are. No one can ever rock you. And that's a powerful place to operate from. It's a powerful place to operate from. And that's when it's a crucial place to operate from online, because this is when people start paying attention to you. Now, this is how we're going to link this all back to branding. When you are so confident, and it's not that you don't have your mind changed when new information comes in, but when you act from a place where you don't need the approval of others, when you act from a place where you don't need the approval for others, that's when people start to really pay attention to what you're saying. I'll say that one more time. When you act from a place where you don't need the approval from others, that's when people start to really pay attention to what you're saying. How many clones out there do you know? When Andrew Tate popped up, everyone started saying the same shit, and you're like, all right, shut up. But people listen to Andrew Tate, and it's the same with any kind of opinion like that. People respect people who say exactly what they think and feel, who don't try and pander to a crowd or a certain current way of thinking. The more direct and you can be, and worrying about your own view of yourself, and you have to have a good moral compass for this. Don't just be an arsehole for the sake of it. But that's when people start respecting you. Even if they don't like it, they will respect you, and that's more important. It's often said in relationships, it's more important that a woman respects you than is in love with you. It's more important that she respects you. Okay, and that's by staying true to what you believe. And those guys, like if the girl says, oh, well, should we do this? And he's like, oh, well, okay. And she just walks all over him, chooses what to do. She treats him like shit. She makes fun of him in front of his friends, and he just sort of laughs it off. She doesn't respect him. She might love him, but she doesn't respect him. Okay, you want to be respected by yourself, and in relationships, and when you're building your brand online. So you should view yourself as a gift in everyone else's life. That is it. Whether it's received or reciprocated, whatever, doesn't matter. You are a gift. Come from a good place. Know that you're trying to help. Know that you're trying to add value. If that's genuinely your intentions, you are a gift in their life. It's up to them whether you are received or not. I had a gift that I gave. There was a bit of turbulence between me and someone that I care about very deeply. And I gave them a gift that I believe, it was a book actually, that if they dug into it, it could have had a huge impact on their life. Because it's a book that had a huge impact on my life. And it was not accepted. It was not accepted, and it was returned to me very, very quickly. Okay, the intentions were good. The intentions were there. If the gift was not received, okay, whatever. Someone else will receive the gift. Be indifferent, move on, okay? So, the bigger picture. So, God's plan is at work, not yours. So, this is important when managing expectations. When you get too tight on a certain outcome, that's when you're going to be disappointed. When you're so focused on a particular outcome, it's very unlikely that will happen. You need to lose control of that outcome and accept that there's more emotion. If you have the core belief that the universe is on purpose, you understand that everything has a purpose, everything has a reason, and that it does. And you trying to hold on to a specific outcome and forcing it is only going to cause problems in your life and the lives of people around you. Okay, that's why trying to control people is never a good idea, even though a lot of people try to do it in relationships. So there's that whole saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So if we need to kind of accept that, God's plan is at work, whatever that means to you, that everything is unfolding as it should, how do we align with that? So you may have heard me say before, if you feel good, you feel God. And that isn't feel good like masturbating or feel good like drinking alcohol. That's numbing yourself or escapism. But feeling good, that feeling where you go within and you feel connected, that real feeling good and doing those things when you're in flow, that's when you're connected to this. So try and find that place within you every single day. I did a video about my morning routine, about the meditation and then the exercise, calling it Get Sparked. And it's like connecting to that higher wave. It's connecting to God and the Tao. There's a great book called The Tao Te Ching that I definitely recommend you read. And it's the great way, and it's the unfolding. It's the same thing that grows a flower. You can't rush the growing of a flower. If you look at a flower and you try and pull it and make it grow, it'll just die. You'll break the flower. Okay, but give it time. It will unfold exactly when it's supposed to. That's what we need to connect to, and that's when we say that when we connect to that and we take action from that place, everything else falls into place around us because it's all happening as it's meant to. It's when we force and it's when we have expectations that we're not connected to that, and that's when we have turbulence in our life. So I hope that's helped. If you're a creator or you're a business owner, you are going to face judgment. You're putting yourself out there, but good for you because it's exactly the right thing to do. There's no way around it. But these are some things that have helped me, some things I've learned to kind of deal with any negativity that you do get. But I would say it's barely on the radar. Like the positivity outweighs, if you have good intentions and you put yourself out there with good intentions, the positivity just vastly outweighs any negativity because people see it. And there's strangers on other corners of the world who are like, I see you. And you're able to connect with them because you took that leap and put yourself out there. So if you're not already, encourage yourself to start building your personal brand. If you've got a message, start putting it out there and connecting with people so they can find you and you can change their life. So if you do want to go full-time online, I'll leave a video here you can watch, and that's going to show you how to scale to 6 figures online. Go ahead, watch that. I appreciate you, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.